Greetings, mighty companions. Anna Kujawa here, and we are doing a Course in Miracles, as we always do. And I open all of my sessions with an opening meditation, so we're going to do that for about 5 to 7 minutes. And then we're going to go in and see what section Spirit would have us here tonight. So, go ahead and close your eyes and take a breath. Just become aware of your breathing. Focus on your breath. Using your breath and your intention to focus your awareness into this moment now. Imagine your awareness is like a dial on a radio, and you can tune it to the frequency and the vibration of this moment now, the holy instant, as the Course calls it. Tuning our awareness to the frequency and the reality of now. What does this moment now feel like? And what does it feel like to just be present right here, right now, where you are? What does that feel like? To not have your mind going off in all directions and everywhere but here and now. And when your mind wanders to the past or the future, just breathe it back to this moment now. Resting your mind. Resting your mind from regretting the past, and resting your mind from planning the future, resting your mind in the now. Tell your mind, I need do nothing right now. And rest. Let us rest our minds from planning, from the belief that we need to plan our future in order to be safe and secure. Let us rest our minds from that false belief. Let us assure our minds, all I need for peace and comfort and healing, I have right now, because I am right now. All I need, I have right now. Because I am sustained by the love of my source right now. This is how we rest our minds in truth. And let us reassure our minds, the love of my source is the truth that sets me free. And the love of our source is what is sustaining me in all my needs. Beautiful. And then just take another deep breath and bring your awareness back to the room and back to your body. Whew-wee. And yawn and stretch, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Wow, got very warm all of a sudden. Yeah, so, okay. Now, okay, I was going to do random number generator, but then I heard very specifically to do something in particular. So, so that's what we're going to do. So in the workbook, we are going to do 1 or 2 workbook lessons. And we're going to start, it's the 2 workbook lessons, I think it's 49 and 50. And I think 49 is I am sustained, no, 49 is I rest in God.
God's voice speaks
Oh.
all through the day. 49.
Oh, 40, what about 49?
50 is I'm sustained by the
Oh, okay.
Oh, I am sustained by God.
Right, what about I rest in God? Where is that? Because I heard I rest in God, the workbook lesson, and then I heard I'm sustained by the love of God. So, let's see here. So guys, hi guys on Facebook, Chris and Myrna and Cheryl. Yes! Hi, Cheryl. So let us go to what workbook lesson is I Rest in God? Oh, it's 109. So let us go to 109. Yes. Okay. All right. How many people are familiar with workbook lesson 109?
Not well enough.
And not well enough, right. Good answer. That was the right answer. Okay, this is so weird. This light is like, I'm going to turn off this light and see if that works. So weird. All of a sudden, there's just too much light. Is that possible?
And you read this on 9/13/2010.
Oh. 9/13/2010. Oh, it's not, it's so weird. What is that?
What do you?
I don't know. It's like,
Overhead?
maybe it's the
Turn it down.
overhead.
Can you
Isn't
turn
there
it?
a dim, isn't it a dimmer?
Not on this. But it's strange. All of a sudden, now it's just my face is full of light. I don't know if it's the camera or all of a sudden.
No, it's just you.
I mean, really, it was not like that before. Okay. Oh,
We go into 109 then?
it's still weird. No, it's not.
Oh, that one's not. Your head's cut off on that thing.
And my head is weird. That
you see it
is
in
so
there?
strange. Okay. Okay. Yeah, totally. Sorry, guys.
To rest in God.
Yes. How about that? How about that? Okay, that's good enough. Is my head still cut off? Hey, y'all, my eyes are up here. Okay, here we go. A little bit more. Okay.
Okay.
It's good somebody's monitoring. All right. How about that? Let me see. Show it to me. Show me.
It's because it has a little delay.
Nope. Okay. All right. Bear with us, guys. We are having some technical difficulties. There's a little delay. There's a big delay. Interesting. Okay.
That's good.
How interesting. It's weird that it has, I see one thing and then in the monitor. Okay. All right, everybody. We are doing workbook lesson 109, I Rest in God. And if you guys want, you guys probably do need that overhead. So if you know, you turn it up if you need it, okay? Turn it up. You want to try?
I'm
You
fine.
sure?
Yeah.
Okay. If it gets too dark, go ahead and turn up the light. Okay? All right. So this is one of my favorite workbook lessons. And as we go through it, you will see why. So here we go. All right. Marjorie says, hope you get a better camera soon. The quality always goes fuzzy than sharp. Yes. Yes, we were just talking about that. Thank you for that, Marjorie. Thank you for that prayer, Marjorie. I join with you in that prayer, Marjorie. If anybody knows of a good camera for doing live stream, text me.
It's because you move back and forth.
Yes. Okay, yes. I was just moving back and forth. All right. So here we go. It says, we ask for rest today. What is rest? That means we ask for quietness unshaken by the world's appearances. How about that? Anybody feeling shaken by the world's appearances today? Anybody feeling shaken by what you saw today? Anybody been feeling shaken by what you've been seeing on the news? Okay, last week, exactly. We are asking for a quietness that cannot be shaken by anything we see in the world. Oh, that's a thing? You could have something like that? Oh, apparently so. Then it says, we ask for peace and we ask for stillness when in the midst of all the turmoil born of clashing dreams. Okay, that's a great description of the world, wouldn't you say? What's the world? It is turmoil. Where does the turmoil of the world come from? All the clashing dreams. You know, my religion is fighting with your religion. My geopolitical beliefs are clashing with your geopolitical beliefs. That is what's going on in the world. Lot of turmoil born of clashing dreams. Okay. Hey, would you try to turn on that light behind you and see? I'm just concerned that people can't see their books. There we go. All right. That's good.
That's actually better.
Beautiful. All right. Okay, so just got a great description of the world. What is the world? It's a bunch of turmoil that's coming from clashing, conflicting dreams, meaning illusions. My illusion is clashing with your illusion. And so we are asking for safety and we are asking for happiness, although we seem to look on danger, and even though we seem to look on sorrow. Wonderful. Now, is the Course in Miracles saying that even though we're looking on sorrow and danger, we could experience safety and happiness? Even though? Is that what it's saying? Even though I'm looking on sorrow and danger, I could still experience safety and happiness. Okay. That's a thing, Course? Okay, that's a thing. Why is that a thing? Because, and we have the thought that will answer our asking with what we request. Wow. Now, what could be more practical than that? Okay? Here you are in a place of sorrow. You're in a place of war. You are in a place of danger. You are in a place where you always seem to be shaken by everything that's going on in the world. And it's saying that there is a way to still experience safety, happiness, peace, stillness, and rest in the midst of a place like this, in a place like it just described. Wow.
I like how it says we seem to be looking.
Thank you.
We're not really, we're just living in incorrect perception.
Exactly. It says we seem to look on it. And notice it says we're asking for rest and quietness unshaken by the world's appearances. So thank you for bringing that up. So that's one of the ways that you could have peace in a war zone, is if the war really was just an appearance. Now, I don't believe that, but I'd like to. I'd probably have a lot more peace and stillness and safety and happiness if all the war and the clashing dreams and the sorrow and the danger that I looked on was just, and I told myself that's just an appearance. Now, what does that mean? That means reality is safe. That means what's real is loving. That means what's real is abundant. No danger, no war, no lack, no poverty, no disease, no death. Which means if you're looking on any of that in the world, that means, according to the Course, that has to be an appearance. If reality is only love, and reality is only safe, and reality is only abundant, and reality is only loving, and reality is immortal, then anything opposite to that has to be an appearance. Now, I don't believe that, but I'd like to. I don't believe that all the war and the disease and disaster is an appearance, but, how's that working out for me? Not very well. Yes.
One thing, Anna, it would seem that you're in your war zone or you're in your battleground, you still have a choice as to what role you are playing on that battleground. Are you a soldier? Are you in the fight? Are you a medic? Are you an observer? Are you a reporter? Are you able, even though you're in that battleground, to separate yourself from it?
Yes. Now, if you were able, now this is telling us how to look upon a battleground. How to look upon the battleground, the battlefield that Earth is, and to experience safety. Okay, so there's a way to be on a battlefield, a battleground, and experience stillness, safety, happiness. It's telling us how to do it. You know, first of all, recognize that all that you're seeing that is not loving and peaceful and safe is an appearance. And then it's telling us that we have the idea that will enable us to experience safety and peace and happiness, even though we seem to look on danger, suffering, sorrow, etc. Wow. Now, even though we don't completely believe that, wouldn't you like to? If that's an option, wouldn't you like to? If that is a thing, then wouldn't we like to do that?
Yes.
Yes. Sign us up. All right, here we go. So, and also that also means that there's an idea that will enable you to look on whatever battlefield, battleground you are on right now, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your health, whether it's your finances, whether it's your job, whether it's your planet. There's a way for you to experience peace and safety and happiness, even though you seem to be looking on something else. So whatever you got going on right now, where you are experiencing sorrow and danger and unhappiness, there is a way to look on it. There is a thought that if you will think right now, then you can have a totally different experience right now. Okay, good to know. And what is that thought? That thought is this: I rest in God. That's only 4 words. You're saying that a sentence that has 4 small, short words can do all that. Okay, that's what the Course is saying. The thought, I rest in God, will bring to you the rest and the quiet and the peace and the stillness and the safety and the happiness that you seek. Okay. Then it says, I rest in God. Why will it bring me the peace and quiet and stillness and safety and happiness I seek? Why? Because this thought has power to wake the sleeping truth in you. Oh, what's the truth doing in you? Sleeping. Where is the truth? It's sleeping in you. That's where it is, and that's what it's doing. The truth is not outside of you, waiting for you to get it. It's inside of you, sleeping, waiting, ready to be wakened inside of you. I love it. I love hearing that the truth is in me, sleeping, right? It's not outside of me. I don't have to go searching for it. I don't need to go searching for it. I don't need to go searching for it, to find it, to buy it, to get it, to conquer, to have it. It just needs to be awakened in me. And what awakens the truth in me? Me saying, even though I don't believe it, I rest in God. Me saying the truth, even though I don't believe it, awakens it inside of me.
God's alarm clock.
Exactly. This idea, I rest in God, is God's alarm clock. It's the truth's alarm clock. Beautiful. So then it says this. It says, the truth in you, its vision sees beyond appearances. To what? To that same truth in everyone and everything there is. So, what does the truth do in me? Well, when the truth inside of me wakes up, it looks through appearances. which means the truth inside of you sees through what you're seeing with your eyes. In other words, the truth inside of you sees through sorrow, suffering, lack, death, and all of the war and danger. That's what the truth in you does. The truth in you has eyes. The truth in you has vision. Isn't that an interesting thought? The truth in me is sleeping, and it's got eyes. It's got vision. It has power to see right through appearances. Beautiful. To what? What's behind all the appearances of war and danger and suffering and sorrow? What's right behind the appearance of the suffering and sorrow in your life? The truth, the same truth in everyone and everything there is. Wow. Be just behind this war that's going on in our world. Just right through it, on the other side of it, is the same truth that's in everyone and in everything there is. Wow. Good to know. And that's what the truth inside of you sees. The truth inside of you has X-ray vision. The truth inside of you sees through what you are getting upset about. Your ego eyes stop at the outside form of the suffering and the sorrow. Oh, look at that. That's so terrible. That's so horrible. It's, oh my God, I don't even want to look. That's so terrible. That's what my ego's eyes, my body's eyes see. The truth in me does not stop at the outside form of what I'm looking at and get depressed. The truth in me goes zoop, with its X-ray vision, goes right through it. Oh, right behind the suffering of that person is the same truth that's in everyone and in everything there is. Right behind that person who's suffering with that financial illness or that mental illness or that physical illness is the spirit, the radiant, deathless, timeless spirit that is in everyone and everything there is. Wow, that's what the truth in us sees. And when we give this idea to our minds, we take this idea into our minds, boom, it wakes up the sleeping truth in us, which is able to see right on through the suffering, right on through the sorrow, to the spirit, the deathless, timeless spirit that's inside of everyone and everything. Now, that is the way that you can be on planet hell, on a battlefield full of suffering and sorrow, and still be totally happy. Have stillness and happiness and safety. Why? Because you see what's really there. That's how you're able to still have happiness and peace on a battlefield. Wow. Now, what could be more practical than this? Folks on planet hell, what could be more practical than how to have X-ray vision on a battlefield? Wow. All right. So, any questions or comments so far?
The only comment I have is to recognize that if you're on the battlefield and fighting,
Yes.
you lose your vision. You have
That's
no
correct.
ability for the vision.
That's exactly right. Good point.
Okay? But if you're on the battlefield and you're resting and
Yes.
you're not in the fight,
Yes.
if you're the observer, if you're off to the side and you're holding the hand of Christ and you're watching
Yes.
the battlefield, it's like a stage
Yes.
in a theater. You're watching the play out. You don't invest yourself in it, the pain, the suffering. But in a moment, you're down there on the stage, you're out there in the battlefield, and you're in the fight.
That's exactly right.
And then you have the choice.
That's
to
right.
come back.
Yes.
No opinion.
That's right.
No
You have the
opinion.
choice. You can come back. Okay,
That's right.
I'm going to disinvest myself from it.
That's
If I
exactly
stop
right.
the fight.
If I defend, I am attacked.
That
If I
is
defend
correct.
myself, thank you. Exactly. How is it that the battlefield seems real, and where you're on the battlefield and you have suffering and sorrow and pain, it's because you've made it real, which means you've defended yourself in it, you've taken up the sword, and you have judged, you have taken opinion on it. Okay? So when you are on the battlefield, whether it's in your relationship or in your body or in your world or in your job, that the only way to transform the battlefield in such a way where you have peace and abundance and safety in that battlefield is to remember that it is a stage. To remember that it is an appearance. And don't defend yourself. Don't take an opinion. Don't judge. Don't attack. The Course in Miracles says there is only one way to have the peace of God, and that is to not attack. And there is, once you have the peace of God that you get once you don't defend yourself and you don't attack, there's only one way to get it back once you seem to lose the peace of God, and that is that when you've lost the peace, realize that you picked back up the sword of anger. I was peaceful when I was trying not to judge, when I wasn't defending myself, when I wasn't having an opinion on everything. I had peace. I was able to rest even in the midst of chaos. But then I lost my peace. What happened? Of course, as you picked up the sword of anger, and then you're holding it against your own throat. So if you want to have your peace back, lay down the sword of anger. Lay down the sword of judgment. Yes.
Please clarify, laying down the sword of judgment and still standing for your right. Because we did not get here. I'm bringing it up again. It's what I talked about
Yes.
last week. So
Well,
you-
the sword of judgment in the what I'm talking about is anger. Okay, so anger is projection for starters. Course in Miracles says anger and projection are one. So anger is, this is happening to me, and I have nothing to do with it. And so the opposite of that is, look at my creation. It's a call for love. It's a call for love. Let me see through the appearance to remember that everyone and everything here shares the same spirit, the same love. So,
Just understand, it's not that standing for your right or rights or fighting for justice, that's not it. We look at that in our dualistic existence as something that is right or wrong, or something that is good or bad. But it's something that you're willing to fight for, something that you believe strongly in, and that is going to be different than the Course. And it's okay. We live in the world of illusions, and we have decisions to make, and we have things that we desire, but that is not going to be according to the Course, because you are willing to fight for that right. And if you're going to be in the fight, it's not love. And if you try and think of it as right and wrong, or good or bad, or up and down, it won't work. The only way you can look at it is this love or is this fear. If you're fighting for a right, it's out of a sense of lack, right? If you're fighting for justice for some other group of people, children, women, poor people, it doesn't matter. You're in the fight. And the Course would tell you it's okay to be in the fight. Just recognize it's not love. Love is not being in the fight.
and first, do this. Okay? First, do what this is telling you to do. And then whatever from there, you will be guided. You will be guided as to what Spirit would have you do. You do have a part in the awakening of the world. First, do what the Course says. Say, I rest in God, and allow your vision to the sleeping truth in you to see through the appearances, you know, to the same truth and spirit that's in everything. And then if there is something to do in the awakening plan of mankind, you will be told. Okay? So that's what I, in terms of what should I do in the world, first apply the truth and then wait upon the voice for truth, because you do have a part to play in the healing of mankind. You do have a part to play in the awakening of the world. And so it may be that Spirit tells you, go out and fight for the right of so-and-so because they need help. Who knows? So, yes, Matt.
This theme sounded familiar to me, and indeed, 4 weeks ago on the 15th of April, we discussed chapter 27 for the quiet answer, and one of the comments that I think I made at that time, resonating again here, seek first the kingdom of heaven.
Yes.
Seek the peace first,
Yes.
and the answer.
Then all else will be added. That's right.
Come.
Exactly. All right. So did you want to share something?
Well, this to me feels very advanced. For example, I would not have ever even tried this course myself personally if I hadn't been if I hadn't gone through psychotherapy first, because the war was in me.
Yes.
And because I was dealing with a lot of childhood trauma. So, from a practical standpoint, to rest in God may mean you've got to work some on yourself and
Yes.
make that realization that first I need to clear some things in me before I can see, have the vision I need to see that I
Yes.
can rest in God.
Yes.
Because that's what we do when we get here to Earth School, as Shannon calls it. You know, you're born and you're just immediately disassociating, because for all of us, one of the things we all have in common is, you know, childhood is hard.
Yeah.
So, and in there we form the black and white thinking, the dualism, you know.
We think
hard-
we're separate from our source
Right.
because we're in a body.
We weren't born that way.
Yeah.
We were conditioned to think that.
Yeah. Even being in a body is not in our natural state,
Right.
you know.
So that's why it's
yeah.
it's so abstract in a way to go straight to, for me it was, to go straight to this first.
Yes,
to
exactly.
knowledge first.
Exactly. And you know, the next sentence is, here is the end of suffering for all the world. And here is the end of suffering for everyone who ever came to the world, meaning everyone who's been born. And here is the end of suffering for everyone who yet will come to linger for a while in the world. That's all we're doing here, lingering for a while on earth. Here, in the thought, I rest in God, is the thought in which you and everyone is born again. What is born again? To recognize yourself. What does it mean to be born again? I recognize myself. Recognize meaning to recognize again, to understand again, recognize. Oh, I remember what I am. I remember I'm not a body, I am a spirit, right? So this is the idea. So there will be something that you are asked to do here on earth, okay? There is an awakening plan for mankind. But first, the first thing, the main thing, the Course in Miracles says, your one responsibility as a teacher of God, a healer, a helper, your first responsibility is to accept the truth for yourself. Because if you don't recognize yourself, if you don't know the truth about yourself, you're not going to be very much help. But once you recognize who you are, you remember, you recognize yourself, now you can be guided. Now you can be guided as to who can best receive your help, Who can best hear love and truth through you? You know, so first we recognize ourselves. First we apply the truth to ourselves. First we give these ideas to the sleeping truth in us to wake up the sleeping truth in us, and we see correctly. That is our one responsibility. From there, Spirit goes, great. Now, I'm going to have you go over here, and I'm going to have you talk to these people. I'm going to have you go to the Capitol, and I'm going to help, and I'm going to have you help and speak for these people who don't have a voice. And then I'm going to have you go over here, and I'm going to have you, you know, be a secretary. I'm going to have you go over here, and I'm going to have you work at the zoo. Whatever it is, you know. But our first responsibility is to accept the truth for ourselves. So, and then the rest is taken care of, just like Matt said. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, which is your truth, your identity. And then all else will be added, you know. Then whom you're supposed to speak to, where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to be doing, and for whom you will be told. Right? So don't put the cart before the horse. The horse is I am as God created me. God is my source. What is the truth about me? Let me allow the sleeping truth to be wakened in me. Okay, is that good questions, everybody? Okay, awesome. So, and by the way, don't forget that it just said, here is the end of suffering. Okay, pretty important. That's pretty practical here in the land of suffering. Right, where how many varieties of suffering do we have here on planet Hell? How high can you count? Right. This is the dream of suffering. Suffering is a dream. Suffering is an appearance. It's not reality. Thank you, God. Okay? Suffering is an appearance. Suffering is not reality. And this is a dream where you suffer. This is a dream where you, a child of God, perfect, complete, deathless, timeless, limitless, can suffer. That's a dream. That's a nightmare that we're all dreaming. It's just an appearance. Who you really are can't suffer. Now, that's what the Course in Miracles says. Of course, we don't believe that, but it does make sense. You know, if the truth is that we're a spirit, then how could a spirit suffer? A spirit who doesn't have a body, a spirit that isn't limited, a spirit that doesn't die, right? So if it's true that we are a spirit, as the Course in Miracles says, that we were created in the likeness of God, our Creator. Is God a body? Well,
Pretty sure no.
Yeah, how could God be a body? You know, then he couldn't be everywhere. You know, if God was a body, God can't be everywhere. And so that must mean God is a spirit. And if it's true that God created us in God's likeness, that means we are a spirit that is everywhere, that cannot die, that cannot suffer. And so suffering is us not knowing who and what we are. And the Course in Miracles says that the end of suffering is us going, oh, I'm not something that can suffer.
But the effects of the illusion can seem really real.
Absolutely. But just like when you go to sleep and you dream a dream, seems pretty darn real, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. When you go to sleep and you dream a dream, are you sitting there going, this is a crazy dream?
Yes.
Not at all. You wake up and you're like, whoa, thank God that was just a dream. I had a dream the other night that I had an infant child just born, and then I forgot all about it and it died. I know that terrible. On Mother's Day.
Guilt.
On Mother's Day. On Mother's Day. You think I have a little mother's guilt? You think I have a little mother guilt?
Like
Just a little. And it was on Mother's Day. I thought it was pretty obvious. You know, I'm a psychotherapist. I woke up and knew exactly what that was about. I'm like, yeah, I got some mother guilt. And so, of course, thank God. And so my workbook lesson that day was something about, you know, letting forgiveness rest upon everything. And I'm like, yeah, I think I'll be doing some of that.
I do not feel guilty.
Yes, exactly. I am sinless as a mother. I forgive all my mother guilt. So in other words, in a dream, it seems 100% completely, totally real to the point where you wouldn't even conceive. I mean, in that dream where my infant child died right after it was born because I forgot about it, I wasn't sitting there going, man, thank God this is a dream. I absolutely 100% in that dream, during that dream, believed it was real, and I suffered. And I believed my suffering was real. And when I woke up that morning, I was like, thank God, that was just a dream. But when I was dreaming it, that suffering seemed 100% absolutely real. And that's what he's saying about suffering, is that it's an appearance, it's a dream. It's a dream. So this idea, I rest in God, is the end of suffering for everyone who is here now, everyone who's going to come to earth, and everyone who is here lingering for a while. Wonderful. And then it says this. It says, this is the thought that you are reborn to recognize yourself. Wow. Pretty powerful idea, wouldn't you say? Okay. How are you guys doing on Facebook? Lovely to see you guys. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to share them or to put your question in all caps. That will maybe catch my eye. Okay, shall we go on? This is one of these lessons where you will not believe it. You will not understand it until you use it. Until you use it, where you use it when you're on a battlefield, when you're suffering because of something, and you use it, and then all of a sudden, boom, you wake up, the dream, the appearances fade, and then you experience the joy and the stillness and the happiness, and you go, wow. Now, then it says this. Now it's going to go on to tell us some more things that we don't believe, okay? Are you ready to hear some more things you don't believe, but you don't have to? I rest in God, period. Completely undismayed. This thought, I rest in God, will carry you through storms and strife. What does that mean? That means it will carry you past misery, which means it will carry you past pain, which means it will carry you past loss, which means it will carry you past death, and it will even carry you onward to the certainty of God or love.
I love this.
Okay, for real. And do we have to believe this? No. Does it still work? Yes.
So if I turn over my willingness to believe in the certainty of God, then will the Holy Spirit help me hear that message when I need it? Because what happens in the midst of a chaotic event is it's hard to center
Yes.
and become aligned with
Yes.
something like
That's
that.
right.
So
Yes.
It actually gets to the point where it's far more efficient than that. You're in the strife, you're in the, and is it Sue Wiggins?
I don't know.
She did a great presentation talking about, she had her grandchildren in the car. She was down at Highlands Ranch, and somebody ran a red light and hit her car. And the level of panic was extraordinary.
okay, yeah. So
And in an instant, she thought the grandchildren were hurt. She said, oh, I need help. And that was it. That's all it took.
Yep.
And she rose above it. She felt the peace, the calmness, and then the grandkids started laughing. You wrecked the car! It's the first car I've ever been in! And then she knew they were okay. But it was that. It's not, you don't think of it as being calm and centered and all this.
Right.
Think of it as asking.
Yes, right.
I need help. There's got to be a better way.
That's right. Yes,
That
and
fast.
the workbook is the workbook is structured, and the workbook is training you to repeat the ideas on the half an hour and on the hour. Okay, so it's not about, oh, I have peace and stillness. It's telling you, say it 30 minutes, say it every 30 minutes, say it every 30 minutes. Now, as you repeat it through the day, then it is something that becomes automatic.
Okay.
So repetition that the workbook has you utilize. That's the training program of the workbook. So, and it says the reason that it has you repeat is so that you will have it when you need it.
Okay.
The purpose of the repetition is that so that you will have it when you need it. Okay? And that means when you're in a chaos, that's when you need it. You'll be like, oh, say, I rest in God. So you'd be like, and so you'll be like, I rest in God. I rest in God. I rest in God. I am as God created me. I'm supposed to say this. And then you experience a peace that passes your understanding. You're like, okay, all I did was say, I ask for help, or I rest in God, and then boop. And then you're like, okay, what? And then you think, that's a miracle. That's what a miracle is. It is a right thought. That does what? That wakes the sleeping truth in you. So notice you say the idea, it does the work. You say the word, even though you don't believe it, and it wakes up the sleeping truth in you. So it does it for you. Isn't that beautiful? The Course in Miracles talks about taking the workbook lessons and giving them to your mind. You know, give it to your mind. That's the repetition. The 5 minutes of every hour, every 30 minutes. Take this idea that Spirit gave you, give it to your mind. Your mind knows what to do with it. You know, and what does your mind do with the workbook lesson? It wakes the sleeping truth in you. What does the sleeping truth do once it's been awakened in you? It looks right through what's going on to see that everything's okay. All is well. All is spirit that cannot suffer and cannot die. All is my brother. All is my sister. There is no death. Only love is real. We're all connected. We're all supported and sustained. And then that makes you the miracle worker. Because here you are in a situation of chaos and disaster. And here you are right in the middle, holding the truth, holding the light. And then what do you think happens from there? The light goes from you and it goes, and it goes out. In these concentric circles, it goes out and it goes out. And then everyone around you is encompassed in that light. That's what a miracle worker does. You remembering the truth. The truth gets awoken in you and it goes whoosh, like that. And then everyone in the situation's like, oh, here we were, had this tragedy or this whatever, but yet I strangely have peace. I wonder how that happened. There's a miracle worker in the midst. And that's you, right? Or you are one of the people in the chaotic situation going, yeah, I was in the car accident, I'm in a chaotic situation all of a sudden, but I have peace. I have a peace I do not understand. Gee, how does that happen? How did that happen?
And it's amazing to watch how fast the situation recovers and everything just like comes together.
And then the situation changes
Yeah.
like that. And everybody's like, what happened? What just happened here? That's what happened.
And I would just like to clarify, Anna keeps saying, you don't have to believe it, you don't have to believe it. The Course does not say, believe this. The Course simply asks for a little bit of effort.
Just a little
It asks
willingness.
for a little bit of faith.
Yes.
That's all. It's not telling you you have to believe this. It's asking you to participate.
It's just saying use it.
Just
Use it.
And it's really critical, and I haven't heard this taught, you don't have to believe it, you don't have to believe it, but it's absolutely correct.
Yes.
You just need a little effort. That's
Yes.
all they're asking.
Little willingness.
Yes.
Just say it. Just like we're saying, just the Course says, you take the idea that was given you, these ideas in A Course in Miracles were given you, you take the ideas that were given you and you give them to your mind, and you give it to your mind in regular increments, repetition. Your mind knows exactly what to do with them. Your mind uses that idea, awakens the sleeping truth in you, and all of a sudden you have vision. And now you're a miracle worker. Now you're a miracle worker, transforming hell into heaven, transforming disasters into peace and joy and safety and abundance for everybody there. That's what it does. That's why this idea, just like all the ideas in A Course, end suffering. What does it say? It says it carries you through storms. It carries you through storms of strife, past misery, past pain, past loss, and past death, even on to the certainty of God. Whew! Take me. That's what the truth does. In other words, there is no suffering that this idea, I rest in God, cannot heal. What does that mean? That means there is no problem that this idea cannot solve. What does that mean? That means there is no appearance, but will turn to truth before the eyes of you who rest in God. So it's the same as saying, I rest in truth. I rest in God. I rest in truth. You know, I'm going to hold the truth in this strife, this suffering, this storm, this chaos, this misery, this pain, this loss, this death. Wow. I'm going to rest in the truth. I'm going to rest in truth. I'm going to rest in God. So in other words, I'm not going to fall for all the appearances. I'm not going to believe what my eyes are telling me, and I'm going to be like, okay, what's the truth? I'm seeing some misery, some pain, some loss. I'm even seeing some death right about here. And what's the truth? Okay, great. That's resting in God. Now, then it says this. It says, so this is the day of peace. What does that mean? That means you rest in God. And this is a day of peace means also, while the world is torn by winds of hate, your rest remains completely undisturbed. Nice. Why does your rest remain completely undisturbed even though the world is torn by the winds of hate? Because yours is the rest of truth. I'm resting in truth. And when you are resting in truth, then all the appearances cannot intrude on you. Wow. It's like you're in the quiet center of the storm. And the storm can't intrude on you when you are holding truth in your awareness, when you are feeding your mind the truth. And it says, and when you are in that quiet center of the storm, then it says, from that quiet center, you call to everyone to join you in your rest. And everyone's going to hear and come to you. Why? Because you rest in God. Everybody who's out there in the storms and the strife, those folks are not going to hear another voice than yours. Why? Because you gave your voice to God. And now you rest in God. And you let God speak through you. That's why they're not going to hear another voice than yours. So everybody who's out there swirling in the storm, everybody who's out there being tossed by the winds, everybody who's out there being torn by the winds of hate, all those folks, who are they going to hear? Whose voice are they going to hear? Not somebody else's. They're going to hear your voice when you are resting in truth. What's the truth here? What's the truth about myself? What's the truth about everybody in this storm? What's the truth about everybody in this disaster, this chaos? What's the truth? What's the truth? You who listen to the truth in the midst of a storm, you are going to be the one that everybody's going to hear, your voice. Wow. So if you ever wanted to be heard by the world, that's the way to do it.
Well, it's actually Christ's voice speaking through you.
Yes, indeed.
Because you have
The voice,
you have the truth.
the voice for God.
Yes.
Exactly. Wow. The voice for truth, the voice for God, the voice for truth. Beautiful. And what does the voice for truth do? Well, the voice for truth comes from the sleeping truth in you. And the voice for truth also looks straight through appearances to what's right behind the appearances of what? Suffering in all forms. What's suffering? The world being torn by winds of hate. Isn't that a perfect description of the world?
Yes.
That's the perfect description of the world. It's a tornado of hate that tears everything apart. Wow. It's the winds of hate that separate everything. I'm separate from you, you're separate from them, we're separate from this country, we're separate from that planet, we're separate from source, separate. Whew-wee. All right. So you can see here how the healing of the world and the healing of mankind happens through us. You know, the plan of the healing of mankind is not something that God, after God just gets so totally frustrated with our insanity, goes, I'll do it myself. The healing of mankind is a plan that is undertaken by us. By us saying, okay, I'll take my part in the healing of mankind. Alrighty. What is it you want me to do in the midst of a battlefield again? What is it you want me to do? What is it you want me to do in the midst of this disaster? What does he want me to do? I want you to say, I rest in God. Okay. That's how the world gets saved. That's how the world gets healed. By us doing this. Okay? That's how important we are. That's how needed we are. So next time you're telling yourself, what's the point? Nobody needs me anyway. Shoot, I only know 6 people. I only have 7 Facebook friends. Next time you're telling yourself that you're not important, remember this. The whole plan of the healing of mankind rests on you. So, you are important. You are important. All right. So then it says some other things we don't believe. It says, in God, when you're resting in God, you have no cares. In God, you have no concerns. Which means in God you have no burdens, which means in God you have no anxiety, which means in God, when you're resting in God, you have no pain. And that means when you are resting in God, you have no fear of future, and when you're resting in God, you have no past regrets. And why is that? That's because when you're resting in God, you're resting in timelessness. What does that mean? That means when you're resting in God, time goes by without time's touch upon you. Well, dang. If that isn't, the fountain of youth, then I don't know what would be. That's the fountain of youth. You mean there's a way to be resting in time in such a way that time goes by and doesn't touch me? For real? There's a way that I can be such a state of rest. Such a state of rest. Resting in what? Resting in truth. I'm at rest. Why? Because I know the truth. Why am I at rest? Because I know that who and what I am can't die. And I know that everybody in this situation can't die. I'm resting in the truth. And as I rest in the truth, knowing that no one can die, then time goes by without a touch upon me. Whew. So who I really am, time doesn't touch. Isn't that great? Good to know. All right. So, it's lesson 109. Okay, hold on a second. Let me get this thing settled here. All right, any questions or comments about that so far? Okay, what else does this do? So then it says this. It says, right, it tells us what happens when we're resting in God. It says also, your rest can never change in any way at all when you're resting in God. So you rest today. And as you close your eyes, this is what it means to rest today. What does it mean to rest today? Here's what it means. It means this. It means close your eyes and sink into stillness. Oh, that's what it means. And let these periods of rest and respite, as you're resting in the truth, reassure your mind that all of your mind's frantic fantasies were just the dreams of fever that have passed away. Ah, beautiful. That's how we're supposed to reassure our frantic minds. What's a frantic mind? Oh, that's a mind full of feverish dreams. So reassure your mind. And it says, so in other words, that's how you let your mind be still. That's how you thankfully accept your mind's healing. Oh, that's how I thankfully accept my mind's healing. Beautiful. Why? Because no more fearful dreams will come now that you rest in God, or now that you rest in truth. So, you may want to take some time today to slip away from your frantic, feverish dreams and into peace. Okay, so, it's telling us here again what it means to rest in God, right? What does it mean to rest in God? Very important. It means that you take time to reassure your mind that all the things that it's frantic about, all the things it's tripping over, all of its upset, all of its frantic dreams, all of its frantic thoughts are just dreams. Feverish dreams, dreams you have when you have a fever. Have you ever had a fever and slept and had those crazy dreams that we have when you have a high fever? That's what it's saying is all we're upset about. It's frantic dreams that we're dreaming while we're having a fever. And how do you calm and cool your feverish, your frantic mind? You reassure it. You tell it the truth. You tell it the truth. That's why when I'm particularly insane, when my mind is particularly frantic about something, I'll go and I'll listen to truth. I put it on and I just let it reassure my frantic mind. I feed my mind the truth. You're safe. You're innocent. You're not a body. Rest in God. You can choose to rest in God. Just rest. You're safe. You're loved. You cannot die. You are a spirit. You are deathless. You are timeless. This is just a dream. These are the things that we use to reassure our frantic minds so that our minds can go. You know how you reassure a frantic friend? You're safe. It's okay. I'm right here with you. It's not true what you're upset about. You're going to be okay. You're going to be all right. When you rest in the truth, you're reassuring your frantic mind that everything that you were tripping over is just a dream. The truth is you're safe, You're loved. You're innocent. You know, you don't die. You have everything you need. You're supported. You're loved. Really, you're at home in God, just having a bad dream. That's what's going on. That's you resting in God. That's you reassuring your frantic mind. That's the end of your suffering. That's why this idea ends suffering. All right. Now, then it says, so given that, you might want to take a little bit of time today to do that. Oh, you mean I can do that every day? Yeah. You could do it every day. You could do it now. Okay, good to know. All right. Then it says this. Now, here's what's happening every single time you say, I rest in God. I rest in God, I rest in God, I rest in God, I rest in God, I don't believe this, rest in God, nothing seems to be happening. I rest in God, nothing seems to be happening, I rest in God, I totally don't believe this. Okay? Every time you say that, even though you don't believe it, you don't think anything's happening, this is what's really happening. Okay? Each hour that you take your rest today, a tired mind is suddenly made glad somewhere. Huh. Every time you say you take your rest, a bird with broken wings begins to sing. Every time you say, I rest in God, a stream long dry begins to flow again. And every time you rest in God, the world is born again. And every time you hourly remember that you came to bring the peace of God into the world, that the world might take its rest along with you, the world is born again. Wow. How beautiful is that? You mean that's what's happening every time I take my rest and I rest in God, even though I don't believe what I'm saying? Even though it doesn't seem like anything's happening, that's what's really happening? The world is being reborn through me? A bird with broken wings begins to sing again? A stream long dry suddenly begins to flow again? Wow. That's what's really happening every time you say, I rest in God, I rest in God, where you take your rest. Where you take your rest. Wow. All right, so beautiful. So beautiful. Irene says, wow, I really am. Time doesn't touch, yes. All right. Guess what else happens? This is like the Ginsu of miracle thoughts. Right. And not just that. Here's what this miracle thought also does. Every 5 minutes that you take your rest in the truth today, every 5 minutes you do that, the world is nearer waking. And that what that means is the time when rest will be the only thing there is, comes closer to all worn and tired minds. Those are the minds that are too weary now to go their way alone. And these folks who are worn and tired, too weary now to go their way alone, these folks will hear the bird begin to sing. These weary, worn folks, they will see the stream begin to flow again. With hope, these folks will have hope reborn and energy restored to walk with lightened steps along the road that suddenly seems easy as they go. Dang, all because of you. All because of you. Now, if you knew that people in the world who had become too weary and worn to go their way alone, because of you, they all of a sudden had energy to continue walking forward, and all of a sudden they see, what does it say, the road they're walking suddenly seems easy. Wow, people who were struggling They're worn. They're weary. They, all of a sudden, they have energy, and now their road is easy. Their road in life is easy because of you. Now, if you knew that that was happening because of you doing something, taking your rest for 5 minutes, what would happen to your feeling of lack of self-worth, your low self-esteem, your self-doubt? What do you think would happen to it? Come.
Another workbook lesson, of course, is you're the light of the world, that's your function.
Yes.
Well, it's telling us that the energy restored to walk with lightened steps. You're giving that illumination, you know.
Yes.
So, and that's why it seems easy,
Yes.
because now they're not walking
In the dark.
misperception of darkness.
Yes. That's right. Now they're not walking in the dark. That's why now their path or their life suddenly seems easy as they go ahead on their life path. Because of you. Because you said, for 5 minutes, I'm going to take my rest. I'm going to rest my frantic mind. I'm going to rest my friend. And that's what we're doing when we're doing the ideas of the course. That's what we're doing when we're doing our workbook lesson. For 5 minutes, we're going to give our minds some rest. We're going to rest our minds from all our frantic fears and all our frantic fantasies. I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I got to do this, and they don't like me, and I don't know what's going to happen. Am I going to? If I don't take care of myself, nobody will. Oh my God, I don't have enough money, and I don't have enough time, and I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, I'm telling my story right here. I know what it means when he talks about your frantic mind. It's always scared, and it's always like thinking it's got a plan for itself, and I got to figure it all out. And what am I gonna do? And how am I gonna pay all my bills? And how am I gonna figure it out? And oh my God, so and so doesn't like me. And I don't wanna. Frantic thoughts. Okay, and it's saying this: take 5 minutes out of every hour and rest your mind from all your frantic fantasies. And the way you do that is you go 5 minutes. I rest in God. And in God, everything's already done. In God, there is nothing to worry about. In God, there is no death. In God, in reality, there is no lack. In God, in reality, there is no suffering. There is no loss. There is no time. In God, in truth, I am a spirit. I am free. I am deathless. I'm timeless. I'm complete. I'm whole. I don't need anything. In God, I don't need anything. I don't need to do anything. I already have it all. I am it all. And you rest. And every time you rest your mind like that, because truth rests your mind, then a bird with a broken wing begins to sing. A stream that's long dry begins to flow. Somebody who's been worn and weary, they're so worn and weary, they can't even get up and walk anymore. They're tired. They're like, I can't do it. They all of a sudden, they have the energy to get up. And all of a sudden, they look at their life and they go, I can do it. I can do it. I see where to go, and it's good, and it's easy.
Can anyone give me an example? But day to day, I'm at the office, I do this, I walk back into the room.
Okay, I
something
can.
like that.
Tell me when was the last time you had a holy instant where you were like, I can do it. It's all good. When was the last time you had one of those moments?
Yesterday.
Okay. You had one of those moments because somebody took 5 minutes and rested their frantic mind in truth. You, that moment where you were living example. Because of them, because of somebody took their 5 minutes, you all of a sudden were like, I can do it. I can do it. So there's an example.
yeah, we encounter all these things in our day-to-day life, and we ascribe the importance to them. And what the Course is teaching us is all these things of the world don't really matter. What matters is love. The body doesn't matter. Okay? What matters is relationship. Those are eternal. But the mistake or the success, the fight, the victory, these things are not what matter. It's me seeing the Christ in you and you seeing the Christ in me, and that's the relationship. That's what matters. Our love matters. Our happiness matters. And so we encounter these things, and what happens is we begin to literally dance through our day, recognizing these are the illusions that I'm going to deal with today. They don't really matter, but it does matter that I do them well, because I matter, and the people that I work with matter, and we're a team, and we're a relationship, and we're going to do this well. The purpose matters, but not the stuff, right? Not the material things, not the anxiety, not the strain, not the pressure. It really literally turns into a dance. It's lovely.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So, last paragraph. Last paragraph. So, it says, oh, okay, that's not the last paragraph. Second to last paragraph. It says, you rest within the peace of God today. And when you take your rest from your frantic fantasies, when you rest your mind, here's also what you're doing. You are calling upon your brothers and sisters from your rest to draw them to their rest along with you. Okay? So, right. So, in other words, you got your rest because somebody rested their frantic mind from their frantic fantasies, and they called you to your rest. And all of a sudden you were like, okay? All right. So this is the mechanics. This is what's happening as you rest your mind in truth, where you stop worrying about all the things you've been worrying about, and you allow your mind to rest in the truth that you are innocent, the truth that you are safe, the truth that you are a spirit, the truth that you cannot die, the truth that you are complete, the truth that you are whole. All the truths that God created as the truth. And it says this, you will be faithful to your trust today, forgetting no one, which means when you rest your mind for 5 minutes, you're going to bring everyone into the boundless circle of your peace, which is the holy sanctuary where you rest. When you rest your mind from your mind's frantic fantasies, you create a sanctuary. You create a sanctuary. Your mind becomes a sanctuary. And when your mind rests from all the frantic ego fantasies, okay, your mind becomes a sanctuary when your mind is at rest. How beautiful. And then it says, open the temple doors of your mind, your sanctuary, and let your brothers and sisters come from far across the world and near to you as well, your distant brothers and sisters and your closest friends. Bid them all enter here into your quiet mind, your mind at rest, and allow them to rest with you. So when you rest for your mind from your ego's frantic fantasies for 5 minutes and you rest your mind in the truth, your mind becomes a sanctuary with open doors that calls to all the world, hey, everybody who's worn and weary, too worn and weary to walk another step by yourself, come into this sanctuary and rest with me. Wow. So in other words, that's what your mind becomes. It becomes a sanctuary that draws your brothers and sisters from far across the world and nearby to you. And it calls them all in. And they come in and they're like, oh, thank you so much. Oh my God, I've been so worn and weary. I didn't think I could go on alone. I didn't think I could go on one more step. And then there was your sanctuary, your quiet, beautiful, peaceful sanctuary with an open door and light beckoning me to come in where I can just go like this. Right? That's what your mind becomes. Your mind becomes a sanctuary of rest with an open door that's calling people from far across the world and from right near where you're at. Isn't that beautiful? What a wonderful thing for your mind to be. How wonderful to hear. I would love for my mind to be a sanctuary with an open door that people can come into. When they come near to me, when they come close to me, they go like this. Now, how would you like for people? I feel that way about you guys. I feel that way about you guys. And that's how we become that to the world. Now, what do you think? Do you think the world needs something more than that? A sanctuary where they can rest, where they can come take a load off, take off their burdens, and rest from demands, rest from guilt, rest from planning, rest from fear, rest from anxiety, rest from stress. What do you think the world needs more than that? Not a thing. The world doesn't need more money. The world doesn't need more time. The world doesn't need more fidget spinners. The world needs a place to rest. People in the world need a place to rest their frantic minds. That's what they need above all else. Not more money, not more to do, not more distractions. They need more people with whom they can rest in the presence of. And that's us. That's our job. And that's our gift. Wow. Now then it says, last paragraph. So you rest within the peace of God today. You rest quiet and unafraid. And each person who comes to take their rest and offer it to you. In other words, we rest together here. When we rest our minds in truth, we're resting together. Because as we rest together, our rest is made complete. And what we give today, we've already received. Time is not the guardian of what we give today. In other words, what we give when we rest our minds today, when we rest our minds in the truth, here's what we're doing. We are giving to those unborn, and we're giving to those who have passed by. When we take our rest today, we're giving to every thought of God, and we're giving to the mind in which these thoughts were born and where they rest. And we remind them of their resting place each time we tell ourselves, I rest in God. Wow. Well, there you have it.
Who knew?
Who knew that that's what you were doing every time you rested your frantic mind in the truth? So, what does truth do? What does truth do? It rests our minds. Truth is a place we come to rest our minds. All right.
I like that part in the course where he says, my yoke is easy, come and join my peace.
Yes. My yoke is easy, my burden is light. Exactly. Yes. Okay. So that's why it says, that's why it says, take time today to rest your mind in truth. Because that's how you save the world. And this is the mechanics. This is telling us the mechanics of how it is that you save your world. This is how you heal the world. This is the mechanics of it. It just told you how it works. You take time to rest your mind in the truth, and then your mind becomes a sanctuary that draws the weary and the worn people on earth to come to take their rest with you, so that they too now see where they're going, and their life path seems easy as they go. Wow. So this tells you how it works. It also tells you what is your role as a savior to the world. What is your role? How do you save the world? How do you do it? And don't forget, the world's salvation depends on you. Then this is how you do it. And when this is what you're doing with your time, when this is what you're doing with your mind and your time, then you will never, ever, ever, ever again doubt your worth. You'll never doubt your power. You'll never doubt your value. And you'll never doubt your power also. And that's what I want. I want to get to the point where I don't doubt my power, where I stop doubting my value and my worth. Why? Because I am fulfilling my function. I do know that every time I rest my mind in truth, that somebody who was too weary and worn to go on alone now can do it. They now are able to rise up and walk again with lightened footsteps. That's what I want. I want my self-doubt to end as I fulfill my function. All right. Beautiful. Okay. So we're going to do our financial expression of appreciation. We're going to do our love offering, our donation, and also some announcements. And then we're going to do our integration meditation, which we'll just do for about 2 minutes. So announcements are, I do 2 live streams a week, every Monday and Wednesday on Facebook so far. Soon it will be YouTube. But for now it's Facebook live stream every Monday, every Wednesday, 7 to 8:30 p.m. And also on Mondays I'm here at the Rocky Mountain Miracle Center in person. And so if you're in the Denver area, come on down every Monday, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. Also, I am a holistic psychotherapist, and I have a psychotherapeutic niche where I do counseling for Course in Miracles students who would like psychotherapy, but from a Course in Miracles perspective. And if you would like to schedule a miracle psychotherapeutic session, you can go to my website, annakajawa.com, and go to the last page of my website, find my phone number, and text me. Awesome. Beautiful. So, just real quick, 1 or 2 comments. What did you hear? What was good? What was helpful about what you heard?
I rest and go.
You heard I rest in God? Oh my God. That's awesome.
That's all that's needed.
That's it. That's all you need. That's all you got to do.
It was all helpful.
It was all helpful. Right on. Right on. Beautiful. Yes.
It reminded me of what you were talking about last week or the week before about training your subconscious. I rest in God, I rest in God, I rest in God. So when you get in that situation where the storm's there, or the traffic accident,
Right.
your subconscious automatically kicks in, and,
Yes.
and you automatically now project,
Yes.
I rest in God,
Yes.
because you've been training your subconscious to react that way, and
Yes.
to take over.
Yes.
Instead of what we've been taught to train our projection is, this isn't gonna work out for me.
This is a disaster.
We make it
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, this is a this is bad. This is a
horrible.
disaster.
Yeah,
Right.
and we project it, and then we perceive it and wonder why God wasn't there.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
We
That's right.
simply-
Yes.
We simply cannot convince ourselves that we and everyone around us is eternal. The bodies don't matter. Nothing is horrible. We can't get ourselves to that true level of confidence that that's truth.
Yeah. And that's why we got to practice. That's where
That's
that's where the repetition comes in. And that was one of the things I heard, was that this idea it's not like you have to believe it and then it does all that we just heard. The idea, you give the idea to your mind, and the ideas in the workbook wake up the sleeping truth in you. And what does the sleeping truth in you do? It looks straight beyond the appearance of the disaster to see the truth behind the disaster. And as you have an awareness and you see the truth behind the disaster, then that truth produces miracles. It produces safety for everyone around you. It produces safety. It produces miracles. It produces abundance for you, and it produces rest for you and people all over the world, far from you and close to you.
And it's just that little effort.
And it's
When
just
you're
that
in the
little
storm,
willingness.
You're in the battle, that little effort.
Yep, that's all it is.
That just to remember God.
That's right. I rest in God. To
And-
remember
and-
the truth.
Boom, it changes everything.
Yep. All right, guys,
I
mighty
like the
companions.
Course says, I trust in the strength of God.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you, Anna.
You are so welcome.
Thanks, Anna.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to say these ideas that I need more than anything on earth. Okay? If it wasn't for you, then, it's not going to come through me. So, I thank you. Thank you guys so much. All right, so for 2 minutes, we're going to do an integration meditation where we just take the ideas and we use them. I know it's a radical idea. So, I want you to close your eyes and take a breath and just feel these ideas. Now, we are going to practice becoming the quiet center of the storm. So here's how we're going to do it. I want you to bring to your awareness a situation or a relationship right now that feels like a storm, or it feels like a battlefield, or it feels like a battleground. There's strife, there's misery, there's an appearance of death, there's an appearance of suffering. I want you to bring to awareness someplace where there's an appearance to your body's eyes of suffering. Maybe it's in your life, maybe it's in another country, maybe it's just the world. Now, I want you to imagine yourself in the middle of this battlefield. I want you to imagine yourself witnessing this appearance of suffering. I want you to imagine it as if it's happening around you. I want you to imagine yourself in the middle of it. And now I want you to say to yourself, I rest in God. I am going to rest my mind in the truth, even while I am in the midst of this chaos, even while I seem to be witnessing this suffering or this disaster. I'm going to rest my mind in the truth. The truth that all involved here are deathless, timeless spirits who cannot suffer. I'm going to rest my mind in that there's nothing I need do but remember that I am a spirit who cannot die, and they are a spirit who cannot die. I rest in God. I rest in the truth as God created truth. I rest my frantic mind in the reality as God established it. Safe, free, immortal. I'm going to rest my mind in the fact that only love is real. And everything else is but a dream, a fever dream. I'm going to rest in God, where all problems have been solved, all questions have been answered. There's nothing left to do. There's nothing to fear, for we are all one. And so there is no lack. Only love is real. And all suffering is but a dream. I rest in God. And I want you to imagine now the waves of peace. The waves of peace going out from you in concentric circles, farther and farther and farther, reaching to and calling to all the worn and weary ones on earth. And I want you to see them waking up. See the sleeping truth awakening in them. See them having energy to rise up. See them walking forward now with lightened steps, looking at their life and seeing the path before them as easy and clear. I want you to see all the weary and worn of earth finding their rest, finding their peace. Beautiful. And then just take a breath and bring your awareness back to the room and back to your body. Ah, beautiful. I thank you for coming out here, bringing your bodies out today. I thank you for watching and joining your energy to this healing circle, all who are watching. And the world whom you just helped, all the worn and weary that you just helped, on their behalf I say thank you so very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And some bird with broken wings.
It's because of you, some bird with broken wings began to sing again. Because of you, some stream long dry began to flow again. So, good job. Not bad for a Monday night, eh? I appreciate you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I love you, and I'll see you next time I see you.